Hey everyone, I'm John Laird with 101X Homegrown. You'll have to excuse me. I have some sort of sinus thing going on and can barely talk. But anyhow, I'm here with Sleep Well. We have a Homegrown Live coming up Thursday, December 7th at the Mohawk. Middle Satry and Large Brush Collection are also on the bill. But most importantly, it's the release show for the new Sleep Well album. It's Getting Brighter. Guys, let's talk about the album. Tell me about it.
Right on. The album was written over the course of around 3 years. And we demoed it at the Fire Station Studios in San Marcos with our buddy John. And that kind of gave us like a test run with him to decide whether or not we wanted to record the album with him. And then we moved forward with him, and he got us a good rate at Blue Rock out in Wimberley. And so we recorded the album in Wimberley about a year ago almost, I think, right, guys? Like probably in December or like
Yeah, like January, February last year.
yeah. So it's been about a year since we tracked the album, and then over the course of the past year, we've been doing all sorts of overdubs and stuff like at John's home studio and working with a bunch of session musicians and stuff and producers to round it out. And I think we wrapped on masters probably about a month ago, if not less. So we really brought it down to the
I'm gonna say a
to the
nice,
end of, to the buzzer. Yeah.
slow, very involved process. I mean, it has
Yeah.
been a minute. I mean, your last album was 2019. I assume, like most bands, COVID just sort of kind of got in the way of progress.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't get around to doing an album over COVID. We did do an EP, but that was very much just kind of like giving ourselves something to do while we were kind of trapped in our houses, obviously. And, we got to work with our own capabilities and kind of flesh our own capabilities out, which would prove to be useful, you know, in the future. But yeah, it was never really like you know, a heavily involved collaborative process, I think. At least not during the pandemic. And
Sure.
it was only as collaborative as it could be.
Makes sense. I'm always curious about this, like when a band puts out an album in December, like sort of the tail end of, as people are paying attention to anything before the holidays hit. Like, so sort of what's your plan? You just guys just gonna go tour and just try to hit it hard at the start of the year, or do you have any thoughts about just holding on to it a little longer?
I think like the plan is the plan was kind of that we had this target window pretty much since we tracked the album. I think we wanted it to be like a cold weather album, so it would make sense to try to push for around this time.
It also
Um,
means we got to get you out of Texas.
I know, yeah, I know,
I think it's
yeah.
like
But
75 outside.
literally, it is, yeah, it is. But
But we
yeah,
will
I
have
mean,
that inevitable day in January or February where it's 10 degrees and all the power goes out. And at that
yeah,
point, I'll listen. I'll just have it on repeat.
That'll be
oh,
the only day you should listen to it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Save it for that
Do
day.
not, yeah, put it on the back burner. Don't open it till then.
wait
Yeah,
until the power goes out. I'll just put like a sticky on it. It'll be great.
that's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
You said wait until December, and I didn't even piece this together. But our first album also came out in December, so I guess maybe that's just
This is where
what
it
works for
naturally
us.
falls for you guys.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
a
I think
December band.
that didn't really come up for me until like very recently. It didn't occur to me that Dogs was out. What was it,
Yeah, it
December
didn't occur to
earlier?
me till literally like 30 seconds ago.
But yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Did it on accident.
There you go. But so yeah, I guess you guys gonna try to hit the road and stuff next year, or just sort of, are you back into the studio just since there was kind of a long development process with this one?
Um, we don't have any concrete plans to, well, we have a Texas tour lined up
Nice.
at the end of February. Hasn't been announced yet, but that'll be cool. But other than that, we really don't have much like in the pipeline. I know like the scope of this album was kind of, it was really wide. It had a really wide aperture. And so whatever we do in the future, whatever is immediately next, I think that we've all come to an agreement where we kind of just want to strip back and do it a lot more like organically and less mechanically, and do stuff more as a group, and so like kind of in-house. And so I think that's what's up next for us, probably, is just kind of spend a lot of weekends together in a room writing and stuff. So
Nice. Well, let's talk about the show that's coming up. Again, it's December 7th at the Mohawk. It's your album release show. It's got really great support on the bill, Large Brush Collection, which that name always makes me laugh every time I hear it. Also, there's always this thing I have in my head of like when bands name themselves something that you can't really Google, except I
yeah.
feel like with them though, you get a little notice in the mail every 6 months that says Large Brush Collection. So I feel like actually maybe that one is a bit different. But they're great. And then we got Middle Satri on here as well, who have a new album coming out in Feb. I think Large Brush Collection's new album is out next year as well. So a lot of new music swirling around at this thing. But tell me a little bit, tell me something about each of those bands.
I'm obsessed with both of them. I kind of, when I was pitching to the guys, like me and Dominic were talking about, potential bands that we could kind of have on the show. And initially we wanted to have at least one band that we were like really close friends with. That was Redbud. And unfortunately, like the show had to get pushed, and then it came too close in the radius clause with another show that they were doing at the Mohawk, and so that didn't work out, unfortunately. And so we were kind of left with a kind of like a tight turnaround to find a different set of bands. And so um, I did a solo set with or it was like a stripped set with like Mark um, and Wes, who plays fiddle with us, at the Hole in the Wall, and it was with Large Brush Collection. And and yeah, that was the first time I'd seen them, but I'd been listening to them for a while. And yeah, we got the opportunity to like chit chat and talk about maybe bringing them on for the release show. And I immediately fell in love with the live set anyway, because they played like Pin Back and like Adrian Linker songs. So I was like, yeah, this is gonna work out perfectly.
Fair.
And then like Middle Satri, they put out Pornography like recently, and that was heavily on my radar. And I like obviously like fell in love with that song, and immediately emailed them and was like, please play this show with us.
I've been playing Stop Speaking a lot. I like that. That's a great
It's
track.
so good. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, everybody come out December 7th inside at the Mohawk. So whether it's still 75 outside or cold, you'll be fine. Get more details at 101x.com. Again, the new Sleep Bowl album is called It's Getting Brighter. And then Middle Satri and Large Brush Collection are going to be there as support. It's going to be a great night. And 21 and up can enjoy Famous Grouse cocktail specials. And that's that. Sleep well. Thanks for joining me.
Right on. Thanks for having us.
And of course, I'll see you
Thank
guys
you. Thanks.
later.